This next project that we're going to be working on is the first in your series of portfolio projects, which will be submitted to the College Board. Now, you're not going to necessarily submit every single portfolio project that you complete. You're going to be able to pick and choose. And actually, if you go on the class website here under Resources, if you click on the second thing down, the AP exam requirements, I have everything listed that's going to be required for the AP exam at the end of the year. We will talk more about this as we get closer, but just a quick overview. You're going to be turning in two different sets of projects. The first is under Sustained Investigation. This is going to be 15 PowerPoint slides where you're submitting pictures of not 15 complete projects, but some of those slides will be progress pictures, some will be brainstorming pictures, some will be your final project. So I would say around 5 or 6 projects total will be submitted to the Sustained Investigation portion. But again, a lot will be mind maps, brainstorming, practice that you do. So that's why we are doing a lot of practice and brainstorming, and that's why it's important to take your time on those. The second set of pictures that you'll be turning in for the AP exam is selected works, and this is where you'll just turn in your 5 best projects. So your 5 best projects will, you'll have pictures and you'll send those in. For the Sustained Investigation, all of these do have to follow a question, an essential question. So if we go back to getting started on this first portfolio project, you need to create and come up with what your essential question is going to be that can guide your artwork for the remainder of the year for all of the portfolio projects. Creating your essential question is going to be something that you'll want to spend a lot of time on and really make sure that you're coming up with a question that you're happy with. This question should be something that you're able to create multiple projects throughout the year for. So you're not going to want to come up with something that you can only think of one project idea for. Kind of think ahead and make sure that you, in your mind, can come up with a lot of different symbols that would work to answer this question, and a lot of different directions you can explore with it. And then also think of a question and a topic that you're not going to get bored of. Are you going to get bored drawing the same thing over and over again? Or is it something that you're really interested in that you won't get bored and you'll be able to slightly change up for each project? The list of essential questions that we used on the last project with the themes project is here if you wanted to click on that link and just kind of go through. You could either slightly change one of the questions that's on there if you're really happy with it. You could even use the same question from that themes project. Or you could combine a couple questions, create your own, but go through that list and think of the different styles of questions and what's going to work best for you. This question can slightly change as you go throughout these projects, but you'll want to pick something again that you can stick with. Once you have your question chosen, you're going to move on to brainstorming. And this is going to be the same process from here down for the rest of your portfolio projects. For brainstorming, pictures of your brainstorming will be turned into the AP College Board. So again, take your time with these steps. But just like the last project, I would start with mind mapping. So under the synthesis here is where I have that example and video of what mind mapping is, but this is just to flesh out your ideas. So start kind of listing symbols, listing and doing quick sketches, all based around that essential question. So you're coming up with ways to answer the essential question that you chose. I have a link here too for the brainstorming and how I'm going to grade you based off of the brainstorming. The first is coming up with your 4 composition sketches, and then practice, experimentation, synthesis, which again is the mind map, and then a reference picture. So we'll look at all of these, but if you wanted to click on this and go further into detail, just keep in mind that that's there. For the synthesis, again, mind map is the first step. Once you're done with your mind map, you're going to move on to your 4 composition sketches. So this is a way to take your ideas and refine them so that you know that you'll have a good composition. So make sure each of those 4 sketches is slightly different, but they could be based around the same symbols and the same ideas. Just maybe change the placement of your focal point, change some lines to get different leading lines. So they should be similar, but slightly different. Each composition sketch, I will be looking for a clear focal point outlined. You should be labeling at least 3 compositional rules and 3 elements of art. So make sure you have some leading line or have some framing around your focal point. What compositional rules will you use in each of those sketches that will create a clear focal point or draw the attention towards that? After you finish your 4 sketches, move on to detail practice. So you're going to choose different parts of your favorite composition that you can go in and practice before starting your final project. So for example, if you're doing a painting and there's going to be a portrait in your painting, maybe take a section of the face, so the eye and nose, and then using whatever paint you're going to use, acrylic or oil, practice painting the eye and the nose. So that way, going into your project, you have things refined and figured out ahead of time. So some different examples again, paint application, you could do some value practice. So fading, maybe it's your first time with oil paint and you're practicing fading from a dark blue to a light blue and creating a smooth gradient or transition. So you're just practicing some different bits and pieces that will go into your final project. So at least 2 little pieces of that project should be practiced. And then the last thing under brainstorming that I'm looking for is a reference picture. Reference pictures are very important. They are great ways to really get some good detail on your projects. Be sure with those reference pictures you're taking them in good lighting. Have a lamp or a window off to the side so you get shadow on part of the face, or taking them outside. And these will most likely be of your focal point. So what's your focal point going to be? And then try to get some good reference pictures to use. The last part is just going ahead and creating your project. This point is where you're going to want to be creative. So think about your composition and how you can really kind of take it a step further. Go back and think about those first couple of projects, how we did multiple projects and merge them into one. So think about maybe creating multiple pieces and how you can merge them together. Think about the techniques we did with the portrait project, whether it's incorporating Photoshop, yarn, wire, text. What can you do to take that project to the next level to really get it to stand out to the judges looking at your AP portfolios? I have linked some of the different techniques, so you can go through those techniques again for inspiration. And then also on the website here, I have linked the rubric for how I'm going to grade your final project. Make sure you go through this, but part of it's going to be good composition, elements of art, having a clear foreground, middle ground, and background, your synthesis or use of your guiding question. So how well are you answering your question? Use of materials, so being creative and using yarn or wood as a backdrop. Creativity and experimentation. So again, just being creative, coming up with unique ideas. Craftsmanship, so making sure that things are nice and neat and clean, not messy or smudged. Final photos, taking good quality pictures to upload to your online portfolio. So remember, that's always the last step of projects, getting pictures that are high quality, editing them with good lighting, submitting them to your portfolio. And then we're also going to be doing critiques for each of these projects. So I'm going to be looking at your revision based off of the comments that were given during the critique. And then the last part of this website is all of the due dates for each project. So make sure you're always checking this out. I'll be putting things onto Classroom as they come up. But every Monday and Wednesday, things will be due. So every other Wednesday, your brainstorming will be due along with a reference picture. Progress pictures are going to be due every other Monday. So you're going to take a progress picture of your project. We'll do a critique every other Wednesday, and then projects on the online portfolio will be due every other Monday as well. So just keep checking on here, make sure that you have everything done and ready to submit on the due dates. We're going to be going through these projects very quickly. So every project, you'll have 2 weeks to work on it. So make sure that you are pacing yourself, getting things done, and ready to turn in on time. So that's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes outside of class every day in addition to class time.